Before you go any further, before your mind drifts or your finger moves to scroll, you need to hear this clearly. This message is not, and it did not reach you by accident. There is a reason your eyes landed here, a reason your spirit paused, a reason something inside you whispered, listen. This is for you. Yes, you. There is something unfolding around you right now that you cannot fully see yet, but you can feel it. It's been showing up as a subtle pull, a quiet tension in your heart, a question you haven't been able to answer. And if you ignore this moment, if you treat it like every other passing thought, you may miss something that was meant to guide you, protect you, and position you. Because someone is about to cross your path, or is already in your energy, and they need something you carry. They need the love in your heart. But listen carefully, this is where most people get it wrong. Not every need deserves your immediate giving. Not every connection deserves your full access. And not every person who feels drawn to you is sent to stay with you. There is a difference between being chosen and being used, between being aligned and being accessed. And right now, you are standing in a moment where that difference matters more than ever. You've been here before, haven't you? Where your heart moved faster than your discernment, where you gave before you were guided, where you opened doors that later became battles instead of blessings. That was the old path, the path of rushing, of hoping, of trying to fix what God never assigned you to carry. But this moment, this is different. This is where wisdom must meet your love. Because what's coming next will either elevate your life or entangle you again, and the decision will not be loud. It will be quiet, subtle, almost disguised as something familiar. That's why you cannot afford to move the same way you used to. Here is the truth most people don't realize: your love is powerful. It heals. It restores. It draws people in like light in the dark. But power without direction becomes vulnerability. And that is the tension you're feeling right now. Do you give freely like before, or do you wait, listen, and let God guide your hand? This is not about becoming cold. This is not about shutting your heart down. This is about alignment. This is about understanding that love, when guided by divine wisdom, builds something unshakable, but love, when rushed, can drain you, delay you, and disconnect you from your purpose. So don't ignore this feeling. Don't dismiss this moment. Because something is being positioned, and you are at the center of it. And here's the part you didn't expect: not everything reaching for your heart is meant to hold it. Some are drawn to your light because they recognize something in you they lack. Some come because your presence feels like peace to their chaos. But that doesn't always mean they are meant to walk with you into your next season. And if you give too soon, if you open too quickly, you risk pouring into something that was only meant to pass through, not stay. This is why you had to hear this now. Because timing matters. Discernment matters. And what you do next matters. In the next part, you're going to understand why your heart is different, why your love carries a weight most people cannot handle, and why this is the very reason both the right and wrong people are drawn to you. Now stay with me, because what you're about to understand will begin to explain everything you felt but could never fully put into words. What you experienced before wasn't random, it was preparation. And what you're feeling now is recognition. My beloved, your heart is not like everyone else's. There is a depth to you that cannot be faked, a sensitivity that goes beyond emotion and touches the spirit. You don't just feel, you perceive. You don't just love, you carry. And for so long, you may have mistaken this as weakness, as being too much, as caring more than you should. But hear this clearly: it was never a flaw. It was a calling. Your heart was designed to hold a frequency of love that brings healing, that restores what others have lost, that creates peace where there has been chaos. That's why people are drawn to you even when they don't understand why. That's why conversations with you feel deeper, why your presence feels different, why your absence is noticed. But this is where the old pattern began. Because you were aware of your capacity, but not yet anchored in your discernment. So you gave. You gave when you felt the pull. You gave when someone showed you a glimpse of need. You gave because your heart recognized pain, and you believed your role was to fix it, to fill it, to stay until it was whole. And in doing that, you often poured into spaces that were never meant to sustain you. That was the old path, love without boundaries, compassion without direction, connection without confirmation. But you are not there anymore. Something has shifted in you, even if you can't fully explain it yet. You've started to feel hesitation where you once felt urgency. You've begun to question what you used to accept. You've noticed that not every emotional pull deserves your response. That is not you becoming distant. That is you becoming aligned. This is the new path, where your love is no longer reactive, but guided. Where your heart is still open, but not unguarded. Where you understand that just because you can give, doesn't always mean you should. And this is why this moment matters so much. Because the same light that makes you rare is the same light that attracts attention, from the right ones and the wrong ones. Let that settle. Not everyone who feels your energy understands how to honor it. Not everyone who is drawn to your peace knows how to protect it. And not everyone who needs your love has been sent to receive it. This is where your identity must become clear. You are not here to be everything for everyone. You are not here to lose yourself in someone else's healing. You are not here to repeat cycles that leave you empty while others walk away full. You are here to love, but with wisdom. To give, but with guidance. To connect, but with confirmation. So if this is resonating with you, if something inside you is saying, "This is me, this is what I've been feeling," I want you to do something simple but powerful. Type, "I am listening." Not for me, but as a declaration that you are no longer moving unconsciously, that you are choosing awareness over autopilot, alignment over impulse. Because awareness is the turning point. And here's the deeper layer you need to understand: there are forces, seen and unseen, that recognize what you carry even before you do. This is why certain connections feel intense from the beginning. This is why some people enter your life with urgency. This is why your energy is often met with either deep appreciation, or subtle resistance. It's recognition. But not all recognition is pure. And in the next part, you're going to see something that most people overlook: the unseen influences, the hidden energies, and the quiet forces that shape who is being drawn toward you, and why. And now that you're beginning to recognize who you are, you can start to see something else more clearly, something that has been happening quietly around you this entire time. Because this isn't just about your heart, it's about who is being drawn to it right now. There is someone, either already in your space or approaching it, who feels your energy before they fully understand you. They can't explain it. They may not even have the language for it. But something in them recognizes what you carry. It feels like comfort to them. Like relief. Like finally finding a place to rest after carrying something heavy for too long. And without realizing it, they begin to move toward you, not always physically at first, but emotionally, energetically, even spiritually. This is why certain interactions feel immediate. This is why some connections skip the surface and go straight into depth. This is why you may feel like you've known someone longer than you actually have. But pause here, because this is the moment where clarity is required. Just because someone is drawn to your light does not mean they are aligned with your path. Let that settle. Attraction is not always assignment. Connection is not always confirmation. And need is not the same as destiny. This is where many people get entangled. They feel the intensity, the pull, the emotional closeness, and they assume it must mean something permanent, something meant to stay. But what if the pull you feel is not about partnership, but about healing? What if they are reaching for you because you carry something they lack? Peace, clarity, stability, love that feels safe. And while there is nothing wrong with being a source of light, you must understand something deeper. Being a source does not mean being a supply. You are not here to become someone else's answer while losing yourself in the process. This is the tension you're stepping into now. Because part of you feels it, that familiar urge to open, to give, to be present in the way you always have been. But another part of you is pausing, watching, questioning. That pause is not fear. That pause is wisdom. And here's a question you need to hold on to, even if you don't have the answer yet. Are they drawn to who you are, or to what you provide? Sit with that. Because the answer to that question will determine everything that follows. You may notice moments where their presence feels warm, even comforting, but then something feels slightly off, slightly ungrounded, slightly inconsistent. Not enough to push you away immediately, but enough to make you wonder. That is not your imagination. That is your discernment trying to speak. And here is your micro warning, because this is where things can quietly begin to shift in the wrong direction if you're not aware. When someone is drawn to your light out of need, they may come with urgency. They may come with intensity. They may come with emotion that feels deep but moves too fast. And if you respond from your old pattern, you will meet that urgency with availability, that intensity with openness, that emotion with immediate investment. But that is how entanglement begins. Slowly. Subtly. Without you realizing that you are stepping into something that was never meant to be carried long-term. So don't rush this. Don't label it too quickly. Don't give it meaning before it has proven alignment. Because there is a difference between something that feels right, and something that is right. And right now, you are being asked to see that difference clearly. Because in the next part, you're going to uncover something even deeper, why not everything reaching for you is sent with pure intention, and how to recognize what is truly divine, and what is only disguised as it. And now that you're starting to see how people are drawn to your light, you need to understand something that may challenge you, but it will protect you if you truly receive it. Not every door that opens in your life is sent by God. Some doors are opportunities. Some doors are distractions. And some doors are tests. This is where your awareness must deepen, because the feeling of connection can be powerful, almost convincing. It can feel like confirmation when it is actually just familiarity. It can feel like destiny when it is actually just repetition. And this is where many lose their way. Because the old version of you was taught to follow feeling without question. If it felt right, you moved toward it. If it felt intense, you believed it mattered more. If it felt urgent, you responded quickly, almost instinctively. But look back for a moment. How many times did that urgency lead you into something that later required healing? How many times did something that started strong end in confusion, distance, or emotional exhaustion? That wasn't. That was a pattern. And patterns only break when awareness replaces impulse. Here is the contrast you must hold on to. Impulsive love moves fast and asks questions later, but guided love pauses, listens, and discerns before it moves at all. Impulsive love says, "This feels right, so I'll give." Guided love says, "Let me seek clarity before I open." Impulsive love rushes to fill a space. Guided love waits to see if that space was meant for you in the first place. This is the shift you are being called into. Because right now, something may feel like an open door, an invitation, a connection, a possibility. And part of you wants to step in fully, to explore it, to trust it, to give to it. But this is your moment to pause. This is your moment to ask, was this sent, or did it simply appear? Because not everything that appears is aligned. And here's the deeper layer most people overlook. Tests rarely look like obstacles. They often look like opportunities. They look like what you've been waiting for. They feel like what you've been missing. They mirror what your heart has been hoping to receive. And that's why they are so effective. Because if it came looking wrong, you would never consider it. So instead, it comes looking almost right. Close enough to draw you in. Familiar enough to feel safe. But not aligned enough to sustain you. This is why discernment matters now more than ever. Because the cost of misalignment is not always immediate, it reveals itself over time. In the form of drained energy, delayed progress, emotional confusion, and the quiet feeling that something isn't sitting right, even when everything looks good on the surface. And here's your microhook, the question that will reveal more than any feeling ever could. Does this connection bring you peace, or does it create subtle pressure? Peace is steady. Peace does not rush you. Peace does not demand immediate access to your heart. Pressure, on the other hand, always pushes. It urges. It creates a sense that you must act now or lose something. But what is truly meant for you will not require you to abandon your wisdom to receive it. So be honest with yourself. Have you been here before? Have you mistaken intensity for alignment? Have you opened doors that later became battles you didn't need to fight? If that's you, this is your moment to shift. And I want you to anchor this decision, not just hear it and move on. If you are choosing to move differently, to walk with discernment instead of impulse, then make it real. Comment, "I choose wisdom." Let that be your declaration that the old pattern stops here. Because you are not being asked to close your heart, you are being asked to guard it with understanding. And as you do, something else will begin to reveal itself, something that goes beyond human behavior and into the unseen. Because in the next part, you're going to understand why some of these doors feel so convincing in the first place, and the hidden opposition, the subtle interference, and the unseen forces that may be influencing who is trying to access you right now. And as you begin to choose wisdom over impulse, something else starts to come into focus, something that has been operating quietly behind the scenes, influencing what reaches you and how it feels when it does. Because not every delay you've experienced was rejection, and not every confusion came from within you. Some of it was interference. Yes, my beloved, there are moments in your journey where what you feel is not just emotional, it is spiritual. There are unseen currents, subtle energies, and quiet tensions that surround your path, especially because of what you carry. Light attracts attention. Not only from those who are seeking healing, but also from those who are unsettled by it. And this is where you must become aware. Because jealousy does not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it shows up as subtle resistance. A conversation that shifts strangely. A connection that suddenly feels inconsistent. An opportunity that begins to open, then closes without clear reason. You've felt that before, haven't you? Moments where something seemed aligned, only to become confusing. Moments where progress felt near, but something invisible slowed it down. That is not always coincidence. Sometimes, it is opposition. Not necessarily dramatic, not always obvious, but present. There are people who see your light and feel inspired. And there are others who see your light and feel threatened. They may not even understand why. But energy responds to energy. And when someone carries insecurity, comparison, or unresolved pain, your presence can activate something within them that they are not ready to face. So instead of aligning, they resist. Sometimes consciously. Sometimes unconsciously. And that resistance can show up in ways that are difficult to explain but easy to feel. A shift in tone. A withdrawal of support. A subtle disruption in something that once felt smooth. This is why discernment is not optional for you, it is essential. Because without it, you may internalize what was never yours. You may think, maybe I did something wrong. Maybe I'm overthinking. Maybe I'm the problem. But what if you're not? What if what you're sensing is real, but you've just never been taught how to interpret it? Here is your microhook, because this is where awareness deepens. Not every closed door means you were rejected. Some doors were blocked because what was behind them was not aligned with your protection. Let that shift your perspective. Because when you start to see delays as redirection, confusion as a signal, and resistance as exposure, everything begins to make more sense. That connection that didn't fully come together. That opportunity that slipped away at the last moment. That person who felt right but suddenly became distant. What if those moments were not losses, but shields? What if something unseen stepped in and said, "Not this one"? Because you are not walking alone. Even when it feels quiet. Even when it feels uncertain. There is a covering over your life that you cannot always see, but you can begin to recognize through what doesn't happen just as much as what does. And this is where the shift takes place. From confusion to clarity, from questioning everything to trusting that some things were never meant to fully reach you. But stay with me, because this is important. Awareness of opposition is only the first step. What truly changes everything is understanding the protection that stands over you in response to it. And in the next part, you're going to feel that shift fully, because you are not just being warned, you are being covered. And now, instead of fear, I need you to feel this, because everything you just became aware of is not meant to make you anxious, it's meant to awaken your confidence in what is protecting you. You are not exposed. You are not unguarded. You are covered. My beloved, there is a protection over your life that has been moving long before you ever understood it. While you were questioning, while you were trying to make sense of what felt unclear, something greater was already standing between you and what could have harmed you. This is why certain things never fully reached you. This is why some connections faded before they could deepen. This is why doors closed even when part of you wanted them to stay open. That wasn't loss. That was intervention. And I need you to receive this deeply. Nothing that is truly meant to harm you will succeed when you are aligned with divine guidance. It may try to approach. It may try to disguise itself. It may even come close enough to test your awareness. But it will not be allowed to take root unless you step out of alignment and invite it in. That is the power you carry. Not just to love, but to choose. Because protection does not remove your responsibility, it strengthens your authority. You are not here to be passive in your life. You are here to partner with what is guiding you. To listen when something feels off. To pause when something feels rushed. To trust when something quietly says, "Wait." And here is where the shift happens. Because once you understand that you are protected, you stop reacting from fear and start responding with clarity. Fear says, "What if this goes wrong?" Protection says, "Even if it tries, it won't succeed. Fear says, I might miss out if I don't act now. Protection says, what is meant for me cannot pass me by. Do you feel the difference? One is anxious, unstable, always trying to control the outcome. The other is steady, grounded, and anchored in trust. And that is where you are being called to stand now. Because your covering is not weak. It is not fragile. It is not something that comes and goes based on circumstance. It is constant. It is intentional. It is precise. Imagine this for a moment, a shield placed around you, not just in front, but surrounding you completely. A presence that sees what you cannot see, intercepts what you do not yet understand, and redirects what was never meant to reach you. That is what has been happening. Even in the moments you felt alone. Even in the times you questioned everything. You were never without guidance. You were never without protection. And here is your microhook, the truth that will anchor you moving forward. If something did not stay, it was not strong enough to pass through what protects you. Let that settle. Because once you truly accept that, you stop chasing what left, and you stop questioning what closed. You begin to trust that your life is being filtered, refined, and aligned in ways that go beyond your immediate understanding. So instead of asking, why didn't it work? You begin to ask, what was I being protected from? And that question changes everything. Now, if you feel this, if something in your spirit is beginning to relax, to trust, to release the weight of what you thought you lost, I want you to anchor this moment. Type, Amen. Not as a habit, but as a declaration that you trust the protection over your life, that you are no longer operating from fear, and that you are willing to be guided, not rushed. Because where you are standing right now, this is not just protection. This is positioning. And in the next part, you're going to see why, because a turning point is in front of you, and the choice you make next will determine which path you step into. Now that you understand you are protected, you are no longer standing in confusion, you are standing at a decision point. And this is where everything begins to separate, not around you, but within you. Because right now, my beloved, there are two paths in front of you. Not later. Not someday. Right now. And the path you choose will shape what unfolds next in your life. The first path is familiar. You've walked it before. It's the path of urgency, where feelings lead and wisdom follows behind. It's the path where something feels right, so you move quickly, hoping it will become what you need it to be. This is the path of the old pattern. The path where you give before you are guided. Where you trust the intensity instead of the peace. Where you open your heart fully before something has proven it can hold it. And at first, this path feels alive. It feels exciting. It feels like movement after delay. But look closer. Because beneath that excitement, there is pressure. A quiet sense that you must act now. A subtle fear that if you don't move quickly, you might lose something important. That is not alignment. That is urgency speaking through emotion. Now look at the second path. It feels different. Quieter. Slower. But stronger. This is the path of alignment. The path where you pause, even when something feels good. Where you listen, even when something feels right. Where you allow time to reveal truth instead of rushing to define it. This path does not chase, it discerns. It does not react, it responds. It does not open immediately, it observes, waits, and confirms. And here is where the tension rises, because this path requires something the other does not. Trust. Not in the situation. Not in the other person. But in God's timing over your emotions. This is the moment where many turn back. Because the old path feels easier. It gives instant answers, even if they are temporary. It fills the space quickly, even if it doesn't last. But the new path, the aligned path, asks you to sit in the unknown for a moment longer. To let things unfold without forcing them. To believe that what is truly meant for you does not need to be rushed into existence. And here is your microhook, the question that will define your direction. Are you choosing what feels immediate, or what is truly aligned? Because you cannot walk both paths at once. One leads to repetition. The other leads to transformation. One keeps you in cycles you've already outgrown. The other moves you into a version of your life you have not yet experienced. And the truth is, the difference between these two paths will not always be obvious on the surface. Both may look promising. Both may feel real. But only one will carry peace without pressure. Only one will remain steady without forcing. Only one will align with the protection that has already been placed over your life. So this is your moment. Not to rush. Not to decide out of fear. But to become aware of how you are choosing. Because every step you take from here will either confirm your alignment, or pull you back into an old cycle. And as you stand here, something else will begin to show itself, quietly, clearly, and without confusion. Because in the next part, you're going to see the signs that reveal which path you're truly on, and how to recognize alignment before it fully arrives. Now that you see the two paths before you, the question becomes clear, but also deeply personal. How do you actually know which one you're walking? Because alignment is not always loud, and truth does not always announce itself with certainty in the beginning. But there are signs. Clear, consistent, undeniable signs. And once you understand them, confusion begins to fall away, and something inside you settles. The first sign is not external. It is internal. Peace. Not excitement. Not intensity. Not emotional rush. Peace. My beloved, alignment begins quietly. It doesn't overwhelm you, it doesn't push you, it doesn't create urgency. It settles into your spirit in a way that feels steady, even if everything around you is still unfolding. This is where many people misunderstand the difference between what feels powerful and what is actually aligned. Because intensity can feel like something important is happening. But peace is the confirmation that something is right. Peace does not argue with you. Peace does not confuse you. Peace does not come with pressure attached to it. So if something is pulling you, rushing you, making you feel like you have to decide quickly, that is not the first sign of alignment. Alignment gives you space to breathe. To observe. To remain grounded in yourself. Now here is the second sign, and this is where things begin to move outward. Confirmation. Not forced, not chased, but revealed. You will begin to notice patterns. Small at first. A message that arrives at the right time. A conversation that reflects exactly what you were just thinking. A moment of clarity that answers a question you didn't even speak out loud. These are not. These are threads being woven together. And the key is this: true confirmation repeats itself in different ways without you forcing it to happen. It shows up naturally. Consistently. Without confusion. This is how you know you are not imagining it. This is how you know something is being aligned beyond your own effort. But here is your microhook, because this is where discernment sharpens. Are you noticing confirmation, or are you searching for validation? Because there is a difference. Validation is something you chase to feel secure. Confirmation is something that finds you when you are already aligned. One comes from anxiety. The other comes from peace. And if you are constantly trying to prove something is right, instead of allowing it to reveal itself over time, then you may still be standing in the old pattern. Now, the third sign is where everything becomes visible. Movement. Aligned things move, not always fast, but they move with consistency. There is progress. There is clarity. There is a natural unfolding that does not require constant effort to maintain. It doesn't feel like you are carrying it alone. It doesn't feel like you are forcing it to stay. It flows. Not perfectly, but steadily. And even when there are pauses, those pauses feel intentional, not confusing. Do you see the pattern now? Peace first. Then confirmation. Then movement. Not the other way around. Because anything that begins with chaos and tries to become peaceful later will often pull you back into confusion. But what begins in peace has a foundation that can actually sustain what follows. So if you are in a space where you feel uncertain, don't rush to label it. Watch for peace. Allow confirmation. Observe the movement. And let those three signs guide you instead of your emotions alone. Now, if this is resonating with you, if you're beginning to recognize these patterns in your own life, I want you to anchor that awareness. Comment, I trust the signs. Because trust is what allows you to see clearly. And clarity is what keeps you aligned. And as you begin to follow these signs, something else will start to happen, quietly at first, but undeniably. People will shift. Connections will change. Some will draw closer. Others will fall away. And in the next part, you're going to understand why, because alignment doesn't just guide you, it separates what can stay from what cannot go with you. As you begin to trust the signs, something else starts to happen, something that can feel uncomfortable at first, even confusing, but it is necessary for where you are being led. Because alignment doesn't just guide you toward what is right, it also separates you from what is no longer meant to remain. And this is where many people struggle. Because when things begin to shift in relationships, the first feeling is often loss. Distance where there was once closeness. Silence where there was once consistency. A change in energy that you cannot fully explain, but you can clearly feel. And your first instinct may be to hold on. To fix it. To understand it. To bring it back to what it was. But pause here, my beloved, because this is where clarity must replace fear. Not every shift is something you are meant to correct. Some shifts are something you are meant to accept. Because as you align, you change. And as you change, your connections are tested, not by force, but by resonance. Those who are aligned with where you are going will begin to feel more natural, more peaceful, more steady in your life. But those who were only aligned with who you used to be, will begin to feel distant. Not because you've done something wrong, but because you are no longer vibrating at the same place. This is the truth that is difficult to accept, but powerful once you do. Not everyone is meant to go with you into your next level. Some were meant to meet you in a season. Some were meant to teach you something. Some were meant to reveal parts of yourself you needed to see. But that does not mean they are meant to stay. And when you try to hold on to what is naturally shifting away, you create resistance where there should be release. This is the old path, where you fight to maintain connections that are no longer aligned, where you pour energy into keeping something alive that has already completed its purpose. But the new path, the aligned path, looks different. It allows. It trusts. It releases without bitterness. Because it understands that what is truly meant for you will not require you to force it to stay. Now here is your microhook. because this is where your awareness deepens even more. If a connection requires you to shrink, to over-explain, or to constantly adjust yourself just to keep it, is it truly aligned with who you are becoming? Sit with that. Because alignment does not demand that you lose yourself to maintain it. It meets you where you are and grows with you, not against you. And as some connections begin to fall away, something else begins to quietly move into place. New energy. New people. New connections that feel different from the very beginning. Not rushed. Not confusing. But calm, clear, and consistent. You may not fully see them yet, but they are being positioned. Because nature does not remove without replacing. It makes space for what is next. So if you are experiencing distance, if you are noticing shifts, if you are feeling that quiet separation happening around you, don't immediately label it as loss. See it for what it may truly be. Realignment. Protection. Preparation. Because what is leaving is creating the space for what is coming. And what is coming will not require you to question your worth, your peace, or your place. But here is where everything comes together. Because even as things shift around you, there is one final step that determines how smoothly you move into what is next. And in the next part, you're going to understand that step, because it requires something deeper than awareness. It requires surrender. As everything around you begins to shift, people, timing, opportunities, you may feel the urge to take control again, to manage what is happening so you don't lose your footing. But this is the moment where something deeper is being asked of you. Not action. Not control. Surrender. My beloved, alignment is not something you force into place, it is something you allow to unfold when you trust what is guiding you. And this is where many hesitate, because surrender feels unfamiliar. It feels like letting go of certainty, like stepping into something without having all the answers. But hear this clearly, surrender is not losing control, it is placing your trust in something greater than your own limited perspective. Because the truth is, when you try to lead everything with your own understanding, you will always feel pressure. You will always feel like you have to figure it out, decide quickly, make the right move before something slips away. That is the old way. The way of striving. The way of trying to secure outcomes before they are ready. But the new way, the aligned way, is different. It does not rush. It does not force. It does not chase what is not yet confirmed. It listens. It waits. It moves when there is clarity, not just emotion. And this is where your heart must shift. Because your heart was never meant to lead alone, it was meant to be guided. Guided by wisdom. Guided by timing. Guided by a presence that sees what you cannot see yet. This is why patience is not a punishment. It is positioning. When you feel that pause, that space where nothing seems to be happening, it is not emptiness, it is alignment taking place beneath the surface. Things are being arranged. Paths are being cleared. Connections are being filtered before they ever reach you fully. And if you interrupt that process by rushing, by forcing, by stepping ahead of what is being prepared, you may find yourself entangled in something that was never meant to fully form. This is your microhook, the question that brings everything back into focus. Do you trust what you feel, more than what is guiding you? Because feeling can change. Emotion can rise and fall. But divine guidance remains steady. It does not panic. It does not hurry. It does not push you into decisions that leave you questioning yourself afterward. So when you feel that urge to move quickly, to define something too soon, to hold on to something before it has proven itself, pause. Return to stillness. Return to trust. Because what is meant for you will not require you to step out of alignment to receive it. Let that truth settle into your spirit. You are not missing anything by waiting. You are not losing anything by trusting the process. You are not falling behind by allowing things to unfold in their proper time. In fact, you are protecting yourself from repeating what you have already outgrown. This is the shift, from control to trust, from rushing to receiving, from striving to aligning. And once you step into this fully, something begins to open in a way that feels different from anything you've experienced before. Not chaotic. Not uncertain. But clear. Stable. Right. Because when your heart is guided, what enters your life reflects that guidance. And in the next part, you're going to see what that looks like, because there is a blessing waiting on the other side of this alignment, and it is more peaceful, more secure, and more real than anything you have tried to force before. And now, as you begin to surrender, as you begin to trust instead of rush, something shifts, not just around you, but within you. Because alignment is not empty. It is not a void. It is a doorway. And on the other side of that doorway, is the blessing you've been waiting for. But it doesn't arrive the way you're used to. It doesn't come with confusion. It doesn't come with mixed signals. It doesn't come with emotional highs followed by silent lows. No, this is different. This is what happens when you choose wisely. The first thing you will notice is peace that remains, not just appears. Not temporary comfort. Not fleeting excitement. But a steady, grounded sense that you don't have to question what this is. You don't have to overanalyze every word. You don't have to wonder where you stand. Because alignment does not create confusion, it removes it. This is the contrast you've been waiting to feel. Where the past felt like effort, this feels natural. Where the past required chasing, this meets you halfway. Where the past drained you, this restores you. And suddenly, you realize something powerful. Love was never meant to feel like a battle. It was never meant to feel like something you had to earn through exhaustion. That was the old cycle. The old pattern where you gave more than you received, where you held on longer than you should have, where you hoped something would become what it never fully showed itself to be. But this is aligned love. And aligned love is mutual. It sees you. It meets you. It respects the space you've created within yourself. There is no pressure to prove your worth. No urgency to secure your place. No fear that if you don't act quickly, it will disappear. Because what is aligned with you is not fragile. It is stable. It is intentional. It is protected. This is your microhook, because this is where everything becomes real. What if the love you've been searching for has been waiting for you to become aligned enough to receive it? Let that settle into your spirit. Because it was never about you being too much. It was never about you needing to change who you are. It was about you learning when to give, where to give, and who is truly able to receive what you carry. And once that lesson is learned, everything changes. The right connection does not confuse your spirit. It confirms it. The right person does not disrupt your peace. They protect it. The right relationship does not feel like uncertainty. It feels like clarity. And beyond relationships, this alignment flows into every area of your life. Opportunities become clearer. Decisions become easier. Your energy becomes lighter because you are no longer carrying what was never yours to hold. This is what happens when you choose the path of trust over fear. When you allow divine guidance to lead instead of your past patterns. And if you can feel this, even just a glimpse of it, I want you to anchor it right now. Type, I receive aligned love. Not as a wish, but as a declaration that you are ready to experience something different, something real, something that reflects the growth you've stepped into. Because this is not just a possibility. This is a shift that is already beginning. And as it unfolds, there is one final step that seals everything you've received here today. A moment of grounding. A moment of covering. A moment that brings everything into alignment. And in the final part, we're going to seal this with intention, so that what has been revealed to you doesn't fade, but becomes part of how you move forward. And now, before you move on, before this moment fades into the noise of everything else around you, we bring this into stillness, because what you've just received is not. It is not random. It is a message meant to settle into your spirit and shape how you move from this point forward. So take a breath. Slow down for just a moment. And allow this to anchor within you. My beloved, I speak peace over you now. A peace that quiets the urgency. A peace that silences confusion. A peace that settles every question that has been pulling at your mind. May your heart no longer be led by fear, but guided by wisdom. May every step you take from this moment forward be covered in clarity, not pressure. May every connection that enters your life be filtered through protection, not impulse. And may everything that is not aligned lose its ability to reach you, to distract you, or to delay what has been prepared for you. I declare over you that your discernment is strengthening. That your awareness is sharpening. That your ability to recognize what is right for you is becoming clearer with every passing moment. You will not be rushed. You will not be misled. You will not repeat what you have already outgrown. Because you are covered, surrounded, guided in ways you are only beginning to understand. And where there was once uncertainty, there will now be confidence. Where there was once overthinking, there will now be peace. Where there was once confusion, there will now be alignment. Let this settle deeply into you. Because this is not just encouragement, this is activation. You are stepping into a new way of moving. A new way of choosing. A new way of loving that does not cost you your peace in order to exist. And as you carry this forward, remember this truth. What is meant for you will not require you to step out of alignment to receive it. What is sent to you will arrive with clarity, not confusion. And what is truly yours will remain without you having to force it to stay. Hold on to that. Walk in that. Trust in that. And if you receive this, if you feel the weight of it, the truth of it, the peace of it, let it be known. Type Amen in the comments as your confirmation that you are aligned, that you are listening, and that you are ready to move differently from this moment on. And if you feel led, stay connected to this space. Subscribe, not just as an action, but as a decision to remain in alignment with messages that guide you, protect you, and remind you of who you are becoming. Share this with someone who needs it, because breakthrough is not meant to be held, it is meant to be extended. You are not alone in this. You never have been. And as you walk forward from here, carry this knowing with you. You are guided. You are protected. And you are exactly where you need to be.